Hello students, I hope you are doing well, studying properly and learning all your concepts. A great scientist, Galileo. Before some centuries ago, people believed that sun moves around the earth. But Galileo Galilei, who was an Italian astronomer, उन्होंने लोगों का belief बदला and he proved that sun is in the center of the earth, of the whole solar system, और जो earth है उसके around revolve करता है. Read how he dared to prove the old beliefs wrong. Who would think that one person could change the way we see the universe? Who would even try? However, it really happened more than 400 years ago. It happened because one man dared to think differently. You see, back then people thought the earth stood still. It did not spin around the sun. The earth was the center of the universe and everything including the sun orbited the earth. Well, that is not true, but everyone believed it was true then. Although nobody wanted to argue against it because they feared throwing into prison or facing some serious punishment. So everyone just kept on thinking happily that the earth was in the center और सब कुछ उसके around revolve करता है. फिर Galileo was the first astronomer who decided to find out what actually happens in the solar system. On February 15, 1564, in Pisa, Italy, a little boy was born and his name was Galileo. His father must have liked some poetry because they didn't call him something ordinary like George Galilei or Fred Galilei. They called him Galileo Galilei. He probably didn't mind having a different name though, at least it was easy to remember. When Galileo grew older, his father wanted him to be a doctor, so he sent him away to study medicine. Many of Galileo's ancestors were doctors, so he had decided to step in their footsteps. In 1581, he joined the University of Pisa as a medical student. At the university, a friend whose name was Ostilio Ricci changed road. He changed the course of Galileo's life by introducing him to mathematics. Galileo realized that he didn't really enjoy medicine and now he wanted to become a mathematician and an astronomy. So he left the school and became a mathematician instead. When he was 17, Galileo noticed a lamp swinging overhead in a cathedral in Pisa. In those days, lamps were hung by long rods from the ceiling. Curious to find out how long it took the lamp to swim back and forth, he used his pulse to time the long and short wings. Galileo discovered something that no one had ever realized. Whether long or short, each swing took exactly the same time. The discovery was found useful for making and running clocks. Galileo became famous and was soon the head of Department of Mathematics at the university. In his spare time too, the Galileo would do different things. वो क्या experiment करते थे, वो glass bulb को पानी में डालते थे और notice करते थे कि पानी का level ऊपर आता है if the glass was heated and fell down as it was cold. He invented the first ever thermometer. In 1609, Galileo heard about the invention of the telescope, about a new invention called telescope, and that it was used to look at the universe. Until then, people had only been able to guess what the universe was, but Galileo actually going to look at it and find out the truth. So he built a telescope that made things appear to be 20 times bigger than they actually were. He looked at the Milky Way galaxy, discovered it was made up of millions of stars, each at a different distance from the Earth. If the universe was really a glass sphere, as everyone thought it was, then all the stars would be at the same distance from the Earth. Everyone at the same time thought that the moon was a smooth round ball. Galileo discovered that it was not so. When he looked at the moon, he discovered mountains, valleys and craters. So उसने देखा, मैं बहुत कुछ देखा. He observed that the planet Mercury and Venus passed through phases just like the moon. The only way that they could do that was if they circled around the sun and not the earth. At the most remarkable of all, Galileo discovered 4 moons orbiting Jupiter. This meant that everything in the universe did not circle the earth. In addition to these discoveries, Galileo also discovered that everything falls at the same speed. If you jumped off the bridge at the same time as the elephant, आप दोनों same time पे गिरोगे. ठीक है. Galileo dropped 2 balls off the leaning tower of Pisa. One was very heavy and other was light. दोनों अर्थ दोनों किस टाइम पे गिरी नीचे? Same time. The most important thing that he discovered was that he was not guessing. He could clearly prove to anyone that he had discovered was true. He could demonstrate and repeat his experiments to do so. Galileo spent happy hours looking through his telescope. After some researches, he realized that everybody believed that the earth standing still was wrong. In fact, the earth traveled around the sun. This had already been stated by Copernicus. Galileo began to publish papers about his discovery, which enraged many people, and many thought that he is making up silly stories. They ordered him to declare that the earth stands still and the sun revolves around it. Of course, it wasn't scientific truth. So Galileo went on writing about his work, and he even published a book. This made the Inquisition so angry that they sentenced him to life imprisonment. By then, Galileo was quite old and not in good health, so they put him in house arrest instead. This meant that he had to stay at home all the time and was never allowed to go out. Galileo just went on studying about the universe, doing his experiments and writing books without taking much notice. He did not mind being in his house anyway. He was very brave क्योंकि वो दूसरों के स्टोरी पे बिलीव नहीं करे. ठीक है. A popular legend holds that Galileo, after publicly announcing that the earth does not move, arose from his knee and explained, "Es pur si move," मतलब nevertheless it does move. ठीक है, उसने ये बोला. Word meaning: universe, outer space, dare have the courage, punishment, pain inflicted by authority, astronomer, one who is versed in astronomy, experiment, a trial, orbit, the path that a heavenly body moves, exactly, accurately, demonstrate, describe and explain, inquisition, investigation, tumble, to fall suddenly, and legend, a traditional or romantic story. Objective type questions. Galileo was born on 15 February 1564. ये आप खुद से करोगे. Galileo spent many happy hours looking through his telescope. Subjective type questions. When and where was Galileo born and why was he called Galileo? He was called Galileo because his parents kept a rhyming name. What was his real name? His real name was Galilei. Similarly, you will do these. अबे reread the chapter and make important note points. आपको notes बनाने हैं. Grammatical skills. They dash for you everywhere. They looked for you everywhere. Now you have to read this paragraph. I had talked of the necessity for prayer. I have dealt with the sense of prayer. We are born to serve our fellow men and cannot properly do so unless we are wide awake. There is an external struggle raging in man's breast between the power of darkness and of light, and he who has not shut the anchor of prayer to rely upon will be a victim to the power of darkness. See, this is the passage. Answer the following questions. पहला क्वेश्चन क्या है? What kind of struggle is raging in a man's heart? To understand and find the truth. ऐसे ही आप सारा करोगे. Fill in the blanks of suitable adverbs. The old man slept peacefully. ऐसे ही आप सारे करोगे. Now you have activity skills. Write down the inventions of the following scientists. जैसे गैलीलियो के क्या हो गई? टेलीस्कोप. ऐसे ही आप बाकी सारे करोगे. Over here we have a picture of Galileo Galilei. I hope you understood this chapter properly. Read it again and revise all the questions to understand it even better.